So let's just finalize this at the end now. The high demand piece. I just want to, can you just dig into that bit for a second for us?
So let's talk about high demands. Let's go a little bit more on the business side. So nowadays you have what we talked about, your services, your products, and your goods. You need to be able to present them to people. If there's no eyeballs, not going to make money. So there's a couple ways. First of all, your business needs to have an online presence, whether you like it or not. Even if it means just having Google and having your customers leave a 5-star review, because whether you believe it or not, people look at that. And that's the first the first interaction, the first impression, and it matters. So first of all is the impression. Before you get traffic, anything, what's the positioning? When inbound traffic comes, whether it's organic or generated, doesn't matter. What's the first impression? What's the first impression of your business?
By the way, I always tell people, if you have a website, for example, which I think everybody should have for their business and for themselves, if your website, for example, a link doesn't work on it, I make a judgment about that business. It's not well managed. It's not. First impressions matter, and I think a lot of people don't realize how quickly people will make a decision whether or not they're going to work with you. So your high demand drops instantly because you're not following these basics.
And you improve it as time goes on. So how do you do it? Feedback. What is feedback? For every action, there's an equal and opposite reaction, right? So what's the feedback telling you about what you're doing? Are the reviews good? Are the reviews beneficial? Do you manage the images on your social media presence? Yes or no? Like, what is it? How is it that you are positioning yourself to recruit new talent? I realized I was like, people think LinkedIn sucks, but who thinks that? I'm trying to find super top tier talent. Okay, looks like I need to have a LinkedIn presence because that's where a lot of professionals happen to be. So that's what the feedback told me. So I had to act upon the feedback. And then I started getting better people on the inbound because my first impression was great. People knew what they were getting into. So the first impression is super important. Second is we're going to talk about organic traffic. So we talked about trends and we talked about narratives. If you want to reduce your cost of acquiring a customer, because there's a specific cost to acquire a customer, and you should know based off of your product how much it's going to cost you to acquire a customer. If you're selling a product for $97, okay, perfect. If it costs you $200 to acquire a customer, that's not an issue as long as you have a high lifetime value, because you're paying in advance for the future lifetime value of the customer. Let's say it's 1K. But if you're only focused on the short-term money, you're going to lose out. And you're going to have to focus on acquiring a customer for really cheap, which is totally fine if that's how you want to do it. Let's say it's a drop shipping approach, Let's say you're selling a product for $97 and you acquire it for $25. So in this case, you can make front-end money, but you can tell that it's not that much. You can run off of small margins. So organic traffic, capitalizing on trends, narratives that are taking place. I like social media. That's what I utilize. Social media will tell you what's hot. You go on Twitter, it'll tell you what's trending, and you can create product demand based off of that. Then you can have what I would call your inorganic, or you would call your paid traffic. And paid traffic is going to be divided into two categories. And this is a new category that has just come out recently that I've mastered. We're going to talk about paid traffic because if you want to acquire customers nowadays, you're going to most likely have to pay for attention. So the first type of paid traffic is where you pay platforms. So you pay platforms, whether you want to pay for ad revenue, like that's your ad expense, whether you want to pay for like banners, whatever it is, different platforms operate differently. So this is your paid platforms: Facebook ads, Instagram ads, Snapchat ads, Google ads. This is where people are. So over the last 15 years, paid platforms made a ton of money because the only way to interact with people was to notice them through an ad. It would be very hard for people to know who, for example, let's say Ty Lopez was back in the day, unless he had that in my garage ad. What if he made a YouTube video, just posted it, maybe 5,000 people would have seen it. He had to use paid platforms in order to push his message. However, 2 years ago, TikTok rolled around and took over, and they introduced distribution. Your ability to reach people that have never interacted with your content before via the For You or the Explorer.
This is what exploded for me. I mean, we had a video day before yesterday get 52 million views. The distribution is insane.
And you can quantify it. So somebody do the math for me. So 52 million views. Let's say your Facebook CPM on the cheap side is $7. Tell me how much in paid traffic that video generated. So you just have to divide it.
742,857.
So you get $750,000 worth of impressions for free because you've mastered distribution marketing.
And you don't need a big following. If you look at the numbers behind that video, 99% of the views are new followers.
For you and
brand new people.
So now people have no excuse. Because people used to have the excuse, hey, I need to master paid traffic. I need to either find an agency. I need to learn it myself. I got to spend money. I don't have it. Okay, well, I get it. Today, it's no longer the case because you have distribution marketing. So how are you distributing your products for people to find out? If you have a service, are you showcasing people your service every single day, multiple times a day? Or are you hiding it? If you're hiding it, nobody's going to see it. There's plenty of businesses on TikTok. They're out here with a voiceover, cutting lawn, and getting customers left, right, and center. So distribution marketing now makes it completely possible for everybody to get attention. You obviously have to pay for it. What are the costs? Well, it depends on how crazy of an operation.
Most of the time, it's just creativity.
Maybe you have to incur a bus ticket. Maybe you have to buy your product to shoot the product. Small things. But it's minimal because the return, the ROI is there. Now, what I like about this for brands is that now brands, and this is the final part, is you need your content. This is the key, right? Because if you want to master distribution, the content needs to be good. However, back in the day, let's say you wanted to hire an influencer and we wanted to go into a studio to shoot your e-commerce product, you would think about it twice because you're like, dang, if this person posts once, maybe I'll get 100,000 views and it won't be worth it. Or I have to spend a lot of money on this shoot. I don't know if this campaign will go well. Today with distribution, you can repurpose the same video 1,000 times. So now the lifespan and the shelf life of the content is higher. Therefore, you can invest more into it. Which used to not be the case because you would need new creatives when the audience fatigued. If you could make no more videos for the rest of your life and just recycle what you already have, and you would obviously get new eyeballs. Why? Because there's 8 billion people out there. So it's like there's plenty of people out there to go around with the content you already have done. How I did it is we built a distribution system. And in our distribution system, we created multi-page accounts. So I have thousands of accounts. In my first,
you controlled all those accounts?
All of them. Yeah. So you can have affiliate programs. You can hire people to come work for you. They're called clippers. There's the short form clippers. Today, I have about 150 people working for me in that distribution department. We do about 150 to 200 million views per month on short form. And my CPM is 2 cents. So I think if I have 500x cheaper than your average cost for 1,000 views on Facebook.
This is partners, paid down partners, because I see that as your internal. Because the other model is reverse of what you just said, which is you incentivize someone to do. If people are listening, they can't afford to hire 150 people like you have done. The way they can do it is the other way, which is you basically, every time someone signs up to your product, because of you've created an account for someone, they get a piece of it.
Yeah.
So an affiliate model, basically.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So
you can have an affiliate model.
It's reverse of what you said, because you've got the funds to go and hire those people.
But simultaneously, I didn't start that way. How I started was I would also pay per view.
Right.
So you pay in direct proportion to the value that the person provides, which if you're thinking that people are just going to work for free and get you views for free, you're delusional. Okay?
Yeah.
And it's like,
it does. By the way, I've got fans. I've never done this. So I actually have people that are making my content. What I think they're doing is they're trying to make money off TikTok.
Absolutely.
So they've taken my YouTube videos. I haven't done this.
And they're getting paid for the views.
Yeah. So that's another model, right? And that's organic.
But this is where it gets even better. It's when you add the pay-per-view that you give them and you add the TikTok pay-per-view.
Right.
Because TikTok's already giving them this. Now you double it down and give them something on top of it.
So you give them a baseline salary and now you give them an upside. It's